I am excited to be here with you to talk about atomic changes and how taking small steps in our lives can make monumental growth. So to begin, a good amount of the information that I'll share with you is from the book Atomic Habits that I read, and I am in no way trying to pass this off as my own knowledge or my own creation, but when I read this book, it made a big difference for me in the way that I understood how my goals, how to view my goals, how to achieve them. So when we were kind of throwing around ideas and brainstorming for Care Week, this book and like this idea of habit attainment really stuck with me as something that I wanted to share. So I have here listed James Clear's website that you can go to for more information and more resources as well. So just to get started, I am again Danielle, and I am a reformed perfectionist. So the upside of being a perfectionist is when I put my mind to things, I tend to do them really well. And the downside is that if I know I'm going to struggle with something, I tend to avoid it. And if it's something that I have to do, either for school or for work, I procrastinate, and then I get nervous about it. Then I procrastinate more, which makes me more nervous. And it's a really bad cycle. So just in my own journey, I have learned to develop a growth mindset as a way to offset those perfectionist tendencies. And I think like in high school, I did really well. Like academically, I succeeded. I was in lots of extracurriculars and I could balance volunteering with those extra projects. And it came with ease. And it wasn't until college that I really learned the downside of being a perfectionist. I failed my first test. I made a C my freshman year, and I really beat myself up over that. But it was in learning this growth mindset that I was able to give myself the room to grow and the ability to struggle and still know that I can succeed. So if you'd like, I'd like you to type in the chat box, what is one goal that you want to attain this year? I'd say you can choose whatever goal that you want, but I'd also would say consider a goal that is something that maybe has been really hard for you to achieve, an audacious goal, something that makes you a little bit nervous. And I'd like to start our talk off with a goal in mind, because we're going to take that goal deeper and go through some ways that we can achieve those. So I'm going to look at the chat and see if we have anything. Let's see what we're saying. Okay, someone would like to buy a house. I would like to move to another state. This is wonderful. Those are great goals. Some of the goals that I'd like to achieve this year, I put that I'd like to keep plants alive. I don't know about anyone else. I love plants. I love having them in my home, but I have no green thumb and I always kill them. And another goal for me is to climb a 14er. I don't know if that'll be a this year goal, but an overall bucket list goal is to climb a 14er. Okay, let's see. I think we have a few more goals in our chat box. I want to complete my academic research objective on track. Okay, so these are great goals, all very audacious. I love to see it. Okay, let's keep going. So I would like to start with just some myths about goals and habit attainment. So the first myth, I will be happy when I attain my perfect goals. And this one is like a half myth. It's half true, half myth. Because when we achieve our goals, we are happy. But that happiness is momentary and fleeting. You know, when I lose 100 pounds, I'm going to be happy. When I buy my house, I'm going to be happy. If it's only in the attainment of habits that we're happy, there's a lot of time that we're missing on being happy. The truth is that happiness is not dependent on goal achievement. And by additionally loving the process of goal attainment, we can be happy anytime we're progressing toward our goal. And then even after we achieve our goal. A second myth is that I lack the motivation to achieve my goals. A lot of us have the same goals as other people, but sometimes if we don't achieve them, we say it's because I'm not motivated. I'm not motivated. Other people who achieve their goals are motivated. They use their force and stamina and willpower to achieve their goals, and I just don't have it. And that, my friends, is completely false. Something a little more true is that your systems are probably flawed. Change behavior requires a changed identity. Behavior that is incongruent with the self will not last. That's a quote from Atomic Habits. And it is so important and so true that if we just have goals and it doesn't take to the root and to our core, it's not going to last. We're going to burn out. And our systems are the ways that we achieve our goals. So it's not that we're not motivated, it's that our systems that we have set up to achieve goals probably have a flaw somewhere. If we can find that flaw and fix it, then we can start to achieve our goals. So here I just like to talk a little bit about how to bring the goals down to the core. So there are 3 layers of behavior change: outcomes, processes, and our identity. The outer ring are outcomes, which are our goals: to buy a house, to lose weight, to finish our school projects and our big goals. Our processes are how we do that. So when we start kind of looking, okay, I'm going to run to lose weight, I'm going to eat better. But even that doesn't get down to the core, which is the identity, our beliefs, our assumptions, and our biases. When I think about wanting to be able to keep plants alive, it's not that I just want to not kill plants. I want to be at my core a gardener, someone that not only loves plants like I do, but also knows how to keep them alive. Someone mentioned they wanted to buy a house this year. You want to become a homeowner. And like, think about how that sounds. Like, I am a homeowner. I am a gardener. I am a runner. I don't want to just run a half marathon. I want to be a runner. I want to be a hiker. When we kind of look at the identity and take that identity on, then that's the first step in becoming who we want to be. And these processes require self-awareness and self-love, which we'll talk a little bit more later. So the single most important thing that you can take from my presentation today, or our time together, is who do you want to be? Not what do you want to do, not what do you want to achieve, but who do you want to be? So I want you guys to go back to the chat box. If you were to identify your goal, can you share that with, or excuse me, can you share your identity that is associated with your goal? Who is it that you want to be? Let's see, I'm gonna field some chats here. I want to feel safe and at home. Exactly. A tenured professor. Yes, yes, these are all great. I want to be loved. To be loved to someone else, to embody love as an identity is so true and so beautiful. So it's with this understanding of our identity that we can really continue to move towards our goals. So just some definitions here. Goals versus systems. Our goals are the results we want to achieve. Systems are the processes that lead to results. And atomic habits are the small practices or routines that lead to compounding growth. And it was interesting. I was telling my mom I talked to her. I really like to talk to her. So I was telling her about this talk I was giving. And I said, yeah, it's kind of about atomic habits, atomic changes. And she's like, is that even positive? That reminds me of like the atomic bomb. And in the moment, I was like, Mom, no, that's so bad. And I mean, yes, they're kind of the same, but no, it's just they only match in the word atom. But then as I thought more about it, I really, I really came to like, I liked that idea of of um, of an atomic bomb. And I know that it's overall very negative and harmful and hurtful, but that idea that one small atom, that if you split one atom, the energy from that splitting compounds and it splits another and another. And taking that term and bringing it towards our habits, if we start with one small thing and then do it well, it will lead us to increasing our habits, to bettering and to getting closer to what we want. And that growth just compounds and compounds and compounds. And before we know it, we have started with a very small habit, but we are achieving a lot of great things. So one of the big ideas here is that if we improve our habits by 1% every day, we will be 3 times better at our habits at the end of the year. 1%. If we grow by 1% over 365 days, that is 365% better than where we were when we started our journey. And I think so many times when we think about making changes or habits, it's like a New Year's Day, like a New Year's Day resolution. January 1st, I am turning my life around. If I ate bad on the 31st, I am eating, every meal is going to be great and healthy, and I'm not going to mess up. And I don't know if you guys are like me, but when I have a goal that's similar to that, whether it's New Year's or at any time, when I am that stringent and tough on myself, I do really well for a week. I kind of fall on the second week, and maybe by week 2 or 3, I'm over it. I really, really want some fries and maybe a milkshake. But what I really like about 1% change is that it's really slow. And I know that we want to, I mean, I like to do things very fast, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way, that no, I want to make changes now. I want to do it all right now. But 1% growth, if we can stick to it, we'll be 3 times better than where we were when we started. So I mentioned this a little earlier about cultivating a growth mindset and ditching a fixed mindset. So a growth mindset is the idea that one can learn and develop new skills and talents through hard work and dedication. Whereas a fixed mindset says the idea that our skills are innate and new skills cannot truly be developed. So I really felt empowered when I first learned about a growth mindset, because it gives us room to learn and to make mistakes and to fail, but to grow. And we don't have to rely on perfectionism to improve. And then a fixed mindset is what I really had before. I've never been good at art, so why try? I'm always going to be horrible. When I was in high school, I was great at a lot of things. I was not great at sports. So I avoided them, hated playing sports because I was really bad and my classmates were good. And what I lost in that was the joy that I find when I play volleyball. I really, really like playing volleyball with my friends. And even though I started off really bad, I've gotten better because I allow myself to play and I give myself that space. Will I ever be on an Olympic volleyball team? Never. But can I have fun and get better and play on a community team? Definitely. So it's with this growth mindset that we have space to grow at our 1% increment and the ability to learn and to fail. And that, even though it's failure, it's empowering. So there are 4 steps of habit making that we're going to go through: making our habits obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. And the flip side to that is there are 4 steps of habit breaking: making our habits invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. So as we gain new habits, we also are going to have to lose old habits. So these just are kind of the juxtaposition of each other. So making it obvious or making bad habits invisible. We live a part of our lives on autopilot. To make these goals and to really make the changes we like, we need to bring awareness to our current habits, and that's going to help us make new ones and break the old ones. How many times have you ever gotten in your car and just driven somewhere, and then you don't really remember driving there, but you got there safely, just on autopilot and unaware? First step is to make it obvious. I work with children, and a lot of times they don't have the greatest hygiene habits. And it's at a residential facility, so they live there. So we bring awareness to the fact that they need to complete their hygiene. And we let them know, like, if you are not going to choose to do hygiene, let's say it out loud. And it's important here that we do an identity check. Does this habit bring me closer to the person that I want to be? If I want to lose weight and my identity is that I want to be a healthy person, when I don't want to exercise today, it's important for me to bring awareness to that fact and to say, this is not bringing me closer to my goal and to who I want to be. And of course, there are times that we want to think about, like, self-care and how it is okay not to kind of stick to our plan. But the opposite of that is that we still just need to identify and be able to verbalize that these choices aren't always going to bring us closer to our goal. So the second step is to make it attractive or unattractive. And one of the things that we can do to change our thoughts about our activities and our habits is to change the way that we think about them. So instead of, I need to go running because it's Tuesday and I said I would exercise on Tuesday, that sounds awful and I don't want to do that. But if I change the way that I think about it, I want to go running because I've been building in stamina over the past few weeks and I want to keep it up. That is more attractive to me than I have to do this because I said I was going to do it. In attaining habits, we're mostly fighting a mental battle. So by developing and fostering positive thoughts, we're training our brain to enjoy and choose our new habits. And if you're anything like me, sometimes it's like, oh, this doesn't work, like positive thoughts, not true. It really does work. Our brain does take to this. And when we work to actively foster these thoughts, our brain is able to grow, to learn, and to enjoy our different activities and new habits. Third step is to make it easy or to make it difficult. And here, a great tangible that I think really kind of brings home the idea of atomic changes is habit stacking. So habit stacking is taking your new habit and stacking it with an old habit or something you already do. And by stacking it in that way, you are more likely to do it. So I put a few examples here. I lose my keys all the time. I lose a lot of things. So the first one is very pertinent to my life, and it should be pretty simple, but for me, it is not. So my habit, when I get home, I will always walk through the door, and right by the door, I have a little place for my keys. That immediately after I walk in the door, I'm going to put my keys in their designated place. So that means even if I'm rushing to the restroom, which is what happens sometimes, I'm going to drop my keys first. If I need to put my bag somewhere, drop my keys first. One of the ones we use with our kids at work, after I brush my teeth, I will floss. If you want to have better dental hygiene, and flossing is something that you don't like to do, tie it with something that you already do. Brush your teeth. Another one is while I brew my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. If your goal is to have a more intentional morning, or just take some time to really center yourself before the day, while your coffee is brewing, do find a 1 minute meditation. There are so many on YouTube, but habit stacking is after I do this, I will do that. And what can also happen is you can stack multiple habits. After I brush my teeth, I will floss. Then I'll go brew my morning coffee and I will meditate for a minute. After I meditate, I will put on my clothes and I will set my running shoes out by the door so that when I get home, I'm ready to go. So you can stack multiple habits, and the more that our brain links these things together, the less it has to think. And the less that it has to think, the easier it will be to complete these habits. If you're paying attention, you'll probably say, Danielle, what about bringing awareness to our habits? This seems like we're going backwards, like we're trying to automate again. That's true. Our brain likes to automate things, and we are going to use that to our advantage by habit stacking and automating our good habits and bringing awareness to more of our bad habits. The last step is to make our habits satisfying or our bad habits unsatisfying. What is immediately rewarded is repeated. So in our brains love for things to be simple, and they love to, like, our brain loves instant gratification. So one of the things that's really important here is when you meet your goals or when you meet your small daily habits, to reward yourself. And it doesn't have to be with food or with anything big, but small things. Maybe it's lighting your favorite candle or taking a bubble bath or watching a TV show that you haven't allowed yourself to watch. I think right here is a really great place. If you don't mind sharing in the chat, what are some small rewards that you can think of that you can give yourself when you achieve your habits? So I'm gonna open the chat and take a look. Yes, cuddle with her dog. I love cuddling with puppies. They're so cute and they just make me super happy. Another habit, or excuse me, another little reward that I saw was like buying yourself a Groupon for an activity or for a nice dinner. So it's in rewarding ourselves for the small habits that we complete. And then as our brain gets used to that, we spread them out and we make them a little bit bigger. So maybe your first habit is to light a scented candle. Maybe as you get further into your habits, it's to buy yourself a new candle or to buy some incense, and a nice one, a nicer candle than you would typically buy for yourself. And then as you again grow and achieve more of these habits, something a little bit bigger, and your brain is then stretching and wanting to complete these things so it can receive that reward. Let's see. Someone says they'll get a little treat and a non-fiscal reward. Yes, those are always great. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so we've talked a lot about kind of how we can tie our goals and our habits to our identity, how we need to plan and have our systems and our processes. So I wanted to give you something very tangible in a way that you can decide if you're making progress towards your goals and if your processes are working. So the tool is called SMART goals. And they're pretty popular, but I just wanted to go over them completely just for if this is anyone's first time seeing SMART goals. So, excuse me, SMART goals are goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. And the reason that these are important characteristics of making a goal is because you can measure it. So I'm going to switch slides here and I have some examples. So a non-specific goal that we can have, I want to eat better. How will I know if I'm eating better? But a SMART goal would say, I will bring my lunch to work at least 4 days per week and limit my dinners out with family to twice per month to limit my intake of restaurant food. Now, can we look at how different those sentences are? And I highlighted the parts in blue because those are specific tasks that we can do. I'm going to bring my lunch, and I'm going to limit my dinners out with family. And it's measurable because I'm going to do it 4 days a week. So at the end of a week, I can check, did I do this? Yes or no? And I can say that because there's a way to measure it. And I would also measure my dinners out with family to twice per month. Again, that is measurable. And looking at the A and the R, I mean, this will be a little bit different for everyone, but is it achievable? Is it feasible for me to make my lunch 4 days a week? For me, yes. For someone else, that might not be the right goal. And like limiting eating out twice per month, that is also achievable and realistic. And another non-specific goal, I want to get a better job. So a SMART goal will be, I will land my dream job working for a top firm in my industry. To achieve this, I will apply to two jobs per month, submitting a total of 8 job applications, and I will spend 1 hour a week learning new interview skills and techniques. So this one, even like our SMART goals can be pretty flexible. You can add multiple steps and multiple things that you're looking like how you will achieve your goals. And you can have multiple goals. Yeah, so the third one here is I want to read more. And the SMART goal will be in order to read 12 books this year, I will read 1 per month. So you can make them as difficult or as easy as you'd like. So I'd like to give you about a minute or so to write down a SMART goal for your identity and your goals and like the habits that you want to attain, and share them in the chat box. If anyone has any questions about SMART goals, please feel free to ask. Okay, let's see what our SMART goal is here. I will read 1 peer-reviewed paper per day to write 1 literature review per month. Okay, that is a great SMART goal. I applaud you because that is a lot of articles that I don't think I could read. And that one shows how different SMART goals can work for different people. You hope it works. Yes. Okay. So again, I want to go back here in deciding, let's see, take it out of that. In making goals, look at these questions here at the bottom. What is it that I want to do? How will I know if I've reached it? Is it in your power to accomplish it? Can you realistically achieve it? And when exactly do you want to accomplish it? So I was telling someone that I definitely have a love-hate relationship with SMART goals. I hate them because they keep me accountable. And I am a type A/B kind of person. So just kind of like to go with the flow and get things done. And then when I realize I'm running out of time, work really hard and do it really quickly. And a SMART goal, when I do them well and right, helps me to plan out my time and get things done ahead of time. So that's why I love them, because it keeps me on track and it makes me like get ahead of things when I typically don't want to. Um, so if you have ever heard of SMART goals or can kind of see how this will be hard to use, I am right there with you. But I share this, even though I have a slight hate for them, because I love that they can keep me accountable. And it gives me the ability to take a big goal and break it down into something smaller. Lastly, just kind of wanted to mention one of my favorite people, Brene Brown. I was like, I cannot give a talk and not somehow bring Brene into it. And the reason I talk about her is because we are inevitably going to fail at our goals. And that was something that I went to a talk by Brene Brown when she was here on campus at UT. And she started off by saying, you are going to fail. And she said, this is what I share with people. You are going to fail. And she does a lot of leadership conferences. She works with kind of managers and CEOs, C-suite people. And she tells them, in growing your company and changing your company, you are going to fail. And people just kind of look at her like, what are you talking about? No, we're not going to fail. And she says, you will. And then she says, what are you going to do after you do? She said, that is what separates a good company from a great company. Great management teams from subpar management teams. The truest determination is how you're going to respond to your hardships and your setbacks. And that really applies here in thinking about our atomic changes. What happens if you're saving money to buy your new house and you have a hardship or a hard week and you spend more than you wanted to? Do we just throw it all in the air and say, never mind? No, we keep going. We make a plan to keep going. The last thing that I have here is that the true test of determination is how you respond to boredom. So one of the things that James Clear mentions in Atomic Habits is it's not the lack of motivation that stops a lot of people from achieving their goals and separates the good from the great. It's how we respond to boredom. Everything in the beginning, when we're starting new, it's going well and we're achieving our goals, we're gaining in momentum. Maybe the momentum starts to slow. Maybe I don't like running 3 or 4 days a week, but the great people take that boredom and they push past it because they know and have their identity and their goals in mind and say, I'm going to keep going and do what I know is going to help me grow and achieve my ultimate goal. So moving past failure and boredom. And in these moments is when it's really important to have self-compassion and to really foster self-love. Because I know for me, when I'm not working on this and actively being kind to myself, I will say, Danielle, you really messed that one up. Darn it, why did you do that? That was so stupid of you. Why couldn't you do better? And when I talk to myself in that way, I'm not really motivated to get back on the horse and keep going. It's kind of rude. And I just think of myself as not being able to achieve. But when I kind of deny that thought, move on to a better thought, you know what? Yeah, you didn't make it this time, but you learned from it. You gained some new skills. And in that failure, you know one thing that doesn't work. So you won't have to do that again on your path to success. And Brene Brown says, we fail better each time. So when we fail or when we start to get bored or we get off the track of our goals, we have to fall back on self-compassion, self-love, and remember to respond to the hardships and setbacks and reevaluate your goals, remind yourself of your identity, and move forward. So in conclusion, just to kind of sum up everything that we talked about today, and focusing on our identity and system processes, not just our goals, habit, attainment, and achieving our goals will come. And a growth mindset, as opposed to a fixed mindset, will give you the room to fail and try again and develop new skills and habits. And our goal is not perfection. Our goal is happiness and achieving our goals, but also on the journey. And self-care, self-love, and self-compassion will encourage you in the long term, in the long run of habit attainment, far better than blame, shame, or self-criticism. So with that, I thank you for coming. I will be having some time for a question and answer if you'd like. So I will be here. And I'm going to end my screen share.
Great job, Danielle. Thanks so much for all of these great resources. So like Danielle said, we're entering our Q&A segment. So if anyone has any question at all that they'd like to ask to Danielle, please go to the bottom of your screen where you see the Q&A button and submit any question. I think you can also submit some anonymously if you would like to. So feel free to ask any and all questions you may have. If you don't have any questions, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you hopefully at another Care Week workshop this week. I loved when you said that you hate SMART goals because they hold you accountable. Sometimes that's exactly how I feel about goals. That sometimes when it's going right, it feels the worst, especially in big ones. Like, oh, I have to actually do what I said I wanted.
Yep, it gives us the way to be held accountable and to really kind of build those processes and systems. So I am looking forward to start. I have a few new goals that I'd like to achieve and do a few new identities that I want to grow into. So yeah, I am excited.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to just address one question that we have in the chat about consultations. Unfortunately, I don't think for Care Week we're offering for you to be able to consult with multiple people. However, once Care Week is over, after your first consultation, of course, as always, we welcome you to reach out to us, call us, email us, and ask more about what you might be interested in. And we can get someone from our team to talk to you about what your options are in general for speaking with us. We love to talk, so we're always open to answer any questions you have or to redirect you to some services. I also, go ahead.
Aside from Atomic Habits, is there any favorite resource for this journey? I mentioned Brene Brown. She has a lot of great books. She is my other kind of go-to resource. One that I really like is called Dare to Lead. Now it's more about leadership, but I think those skills that she talks about in being a great leader really translate to any kind of aspect of our lives. So that could be how to be a more like attuned parent, or how to relate better to friends or family. It's just how to value people. So she has her books, and she also has a few TED Talks on YouTube. Other books, I'm looking at my bookshelf right now. I can get back to you, but I think I would start there, just with some of her books. And let's see, it says, anything you care to share are your personal identities and your goals. Yeah. So I think, when I was kind of thinking about this, one of the things that I feel like I kind of, one of my identities is just being a professional person. So like I consider myself a professional. So I have like kind of already built those habits and skills of kind of attaining professional goals. And I'm in my master's program. So that I would say is me, like I am a nurse practitioner, which is, I was talking with AJ yesterday about being a sociologist, and sometimes it's really hard to use like these very direct terms. I am a nurse practitioner. I am a sociologist. And like there's a lot that comes with that. So those are like some of my identities that I feel pretty confident in. I think one that kind of going forward that I want to work at is being a hiker and being healthy. So I've started, again, very slowly, kind of bringing awareness. That's where I'm at right now, bringing awareness to my habits. And I say out loud, okay, I'm eating this cookie right now. Not the greatest choice on a path to being healthy, but it's a choice that I'm making. So whereas maybe sometimes I just kind of go in and grab a snack, I'm making myself very aware of what I'm doing. And I think that has helped us sometimes. Okay, I'm on my path to being a healthy person. I'm going to go and get a healthier snack. I'm going to get an apple, which I buy all the fruits and vegetables in the world, and I don't like to eat them. But it's like, what choice would a healthy person make? So, and those are some of the things I'm working on. And goals, yeah, I know I put on there I want to attain or kind of get my dream job. That's another thing that's coming up. I'll be graduating this semester. So yep, I will be putting in applications and updating my resume. So those are some of the things I'll be doing.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. I can definitely give testament to the beginning part, kind of asking myself who I was and answering that I wanted to be a sociologist. It was kind of scary at first to say something. It felt really audacious, especially if you're still in school or you're still trying to get educated. To say something like I am this, it was definitely out of my comfort zone, but it also kind of validated me emotionally in a way that was new. And so it was kind of welcome at the same time.
Yeah. And then by kind of taking that step, by like taking our goals and making it a part of our identity, it makes it that much more real and gives us that much more encouragement to keep going.
All right, guys. Again, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask in the few minutes that we have left here, be free to ask. Danielle's here to answer any questions you have, no matter what they may be. Yeah, other than that, just going to be hanging out together. And
Yes.
we definitely recommend for those of you who maybe haven't yet, definitely hold on to what Danielle said about setting goals and see if you weren't able to write some down now, see if you can write them down later, maybe as a reflection exercise after the workshop. And just, consider that practice in general. We'd really love for you guys to use some of the tips that she gave today.
Exactly. Thank you all so much for this opportunity. And I hope that this helped in some small way. If any of you are familiar with UT, the motto, or the University of Texas at Austin, the motto is what starts here changes the world. And with these atomic changes that will continue to compound and grow, whatever it is for you, I know that we are going to change the world for the better.
Love that.
Y'all have a great evening. Thank you so much.